And we are on. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Feature Friday interview for the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education. My name is Jody Scholes, and I am excited to welcome you as with my co-host, the president of Zion Massage College, Rebecca Fairway, and our special guest today, Jessica Pumo from Massage Envy.
Hi.
Yay!
Thanks for
And so
joining
we
us.
are here on behalf of, we're talking today about the Educational Congress coming up. So if you haven't heard, there's a great big conference going on July 25th through 27th in Philadelphia. Oh my gosh, I'm actually really excited to go to Philly. Are you ladies looking forward to that?
I love Philly.
Oh my gosh, I love Philly. I mean, there's so many things. It's like one of the top 10 cities for delicious restaurants.
Yes.
Cheesesteak. How could you go wrong?
Oh my gosh, seriously. Yeah. And Rebecca, you were saying earlier that you were looking forward to doing something?
Yeah, I just want to go see the Liberty Bell.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I think I'll be really...
Probably one of the oldest things in the U.S. And we're going to get to do two amazing things: visit a great city and attend the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education's conference with incredible speakers and presenters, terrific vendors, and amazing exhibitors. And so we're very excited to have Massage Envy as a part of our Congress. And that's why we have Jessica here today to talk to us a little bit about their participation. So Jessica, what do you do at Massage Envy?
You know, my title is not super descriptive, so I generally tell people that I am part of a team that's focused on helping the franchise network and Massage Envy franchisees recruit, engage, and retain talented people.
Yeah, so you're directly involved in making sure that our brothers and sisters who work with the Massage Envy franchisees, the massage therapists who work in there, love their job and stay.
That is what we are helping franchisees to do. You hit the nail on the head, Jody.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, like I said, I'm really excited that you guys are participating in the Congress this year as an exhibitor. And why did Massage Envy decide to be an exhibitor at an educational Congress?
You know, we have been sponsoring for many years, and we're continuing to sponsor the Educational Congress just in the past because, frankly, we believe education is the cornerstone of this or really any profession. And with Massage Envy franchisees being collectively the largest employer of massage therapists, we all feel like there's a collective responsibility to be engaged in every part of the journey that leads to a career in massage therapy. But on a personal level, I started my professional life as a college instructor, and I spent my first a marketer in the education sector. So I have a deep personal passion for the life-changing impact of education. And it's just such an honor to be able to continue to fuel that passion working with partners like AFMT.
Absolutely. You mentioned that Massage Envy is one of the largest employers. I'm going to guess that it's probably the largest employer of massage therapists. At last estimate, approximately how many massage therapists do your franchisees employ?
At right around 20,000 massage therapists nationwide, Massage Envy franchisees are collectively the largest employer of massage therapists.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question for you, Jessica. So I know you guys provide continuing education opportunities, and you also really help the franchisees owners to provide those opportunities for their therapists. In addition to that, what are some things that you guys do to really help promote massage therapy and to increase standards in massage therapy, to increase the quality of the therapists and to really help the industry?
I think, Rebecca, you really alluded to it. It's really about that continuing education. And that's one thing that therapists have really told us, has given us feedback on it being really meaningful to them. They really appreciate the support that's provided around continuing education. We recognize that continuing education isn't just a requirement for maintaining licensure in most states. It's an ongoing opportunity to demonstrate a commitment to lifelong learning and professionalism while expanding your skills and deepening your craft. And we also recognize that it can be very costly. So that's why we've been so excited to be able to, in the past year, and we're continuing to offer 12 plus free CEs every year to all therapists in the community franchise locations. That really puts money back in therapists' pockets while putting continuing education opportunities at their fingertips all year long.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm curious, do you know, and maybe you do or don't, but what are some of your popular classes that your therapists, lean towards taking with their 12 credits, free credits?
Yeah, it's a great question. So one component of the continuing education offering that's been fairly consistent over the past year and a half or so is the self-care commitment curriculum. And it really helps to fill that knowledge gap. I know that this is one that's near and dear to your heart, Jody, that really helps people get into a position to be able to make massage therapy the lifelong career that they're so passionate about. So that's been a really big one for us.
And who in your organization happened to spearhead that?
Everyone out there is seeing knowing smiles because it's someone that Jody and I have both been very fond of. Mr. Rick Bowden, who unfortunately passed last year. This was really his baby. He was a longtime massage therapist. He was also a Massage MD franchisee, and he just really had a unique appreciation and understanding for the skills and the knowledge required to set yourself up for success when it comes to self-care. He really made that his mission. And we're just honored to continue it through that continuing education program.
Well, we're going to come back to that self-care topic and how Massage Envy is honoring Rick's memory in just a few minutes. But as an educator, Jessica, what attracted you to this position, to massage therapy?
That's a great question. I've always been drawn to cause-driven marketing. And after 10 years in the education setting, frankly, I was ready for a change. So when an opportunity presented itself to focus not just on helping people find careers, which I was very intrigued by, but on finding careers in a field as powerful as massage therapy, that was a cause that I really felt that I could get behind. So I made that move almost 3 years ago, and every day I'm glad and feel blessed that I did.
That's great. So when did you have your first massage? What was your first experience with massage?
So
did you know what you're getting into at all? Yeah.
Oh, my very first experience was a couples massage with my husband on a cruise a lifetime ago, and that was the only one that I'd had for many, many years after that. And it wasn't really until I got pregnant with my third child. And, as I was getting older, there were pains and, discomforts associated with that I discovered the incredible power of massage therapy to help you manage daily wear and tear that life, pregnancy, everything puts on your body. And these days, after a long week or a long flight, I'm usually thinking about massage before I even get to my car. So it's really become just a part of my life.
That's so great.
Now, as such a large employer of massage therapists, your company really, it's almost essential that they stay on top of trends that are starting to happen in our profession. What are you seeing as far as trends in the massage therapy industry?
Sure. I think one of the things that I've really been focused on from a trend standpoint is just the increasing broader acceptance of massage therapy as a legitimate part of an integrative health approach. And it's a trend I've been really excited to see. I know that there's still a long way to go, but with every article that I read or guest speaker that I hear addressing this topic, I am encouraged and I'm optimistic about the expanding role that massage therapy can play in keeping people healthy.
Yeah, that's great.
I agree.
So I agree. I've noticed that there's a lot more public awareness about massage and the benefits, and you guys are seeing more people come in for pain management and stress relief than you did in the beginning of your organization. Are you seeing that with the public?
I couldn't offer you stats at the franchise location level, but I think one thing that The therapists that work in franchise locations have always appreciated is being able to really focus on those types of things, helping people recover from injury, helping people manage illness. When you work in a setting that affords you the ability to have a repeat clientele where you're really working toward long-term goals, that's exactly the type of thing that you get to see. And I know that's one thing that has really driven a lot of therapists to that setting because it's very uniquely rewarding.
Right. Yeah, that is rewarding for the therapist. With all that in mind, what do you think some of the biggest challenges are facing the massage therapy profession?
Sure. So I think there are two issues that really are top of mind for me, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the first one is safety, frankly. Massage therapists and massage consumers both want and deserve to have a safe therapeutic environment in which to practice or receive massage. And in the past year or so, this issue has been a major focus area, certainly for Massage Envy. And our commitment to safety plan that we made public last year is really a product of that focus. But it's also driven what I would say is some much needed collaboration among other stakeholders in the profession, from employers to professional organizations and educators and really
schools. Yeah,
it's critical to addressing this issue. And I would expect that this would be a continued focus area for all of us. I think another major issue, though, and one that I know impacts schools first and foremost, is generating a sustained interest in the profession. We constantly hear from schools, and Rebecca, I'm sure that this is old hat to you, that it's becoming increasingly challenging to draw recent high school graduates into the profession. And with the economy strong and unemployment low, both of which are great things, an outcome of that is that people tend to make fewer career changes. So these two forces are sort of creating a unique challenge in attracting the next generation of massage therapists to the profession. And given my job, that's something that I spend a lot of days and nights thinking about.
Right. Do you mind if I ask a follow-up question?
Sure. Go for it.
And Jess. Because I have a massage therapy college, it really interests me personally to hear you talk a little bit about what schools can do to better prepare their students and the graduates that you receive to be in the massage therapy profession. So what are some of the things that you're seeing that we could do better as schools?
That's a great question. And it's actually a topic that's come out of a lot of the focus groups that we've held recently with massage therapy educators over the past few months. And something that's really stuck with me from all of those conversations is the idea of self-advocacy. So I think educators recognize that both the profession of massage therapy and the job market more generally are both changing. And massage therapists have more choice than they've ever had before in their career paths, which is a wonderful thing. But it's also made self-advocacy a more important skill than it's ever been before. I mean, listening to educators tell me about the work that they do to instill in their students the importance of being an advocate for yourself in terms of your personal safety, your professional expectations, the goals that you want to accomplish professionally. These things have really been driven home for me. And I've been really impressed by how some smart and savvy educators have really integrated that into their students' experiences.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, beyond just the interview, how that carries over, that self-confidence carries over into the treatment room, into the break room, and just being a solid employee and happy with the work.
Yeah, I think I really appreciate that. And I think that those basic life skills of advocacy are important. And we're speaking to massage therapy educators with this interview. And so they know what that means. But just to bring it down to a more practical level, you're talking about the ability for the therapist to be able to manage the session and to be able to set clear boundaries from the very start. And then that they have an action plan and a process that is both respectful to the client and to themselves as they're managing that session, correct?
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. But I think that's definitely true of the franchise setting. And I think if you expand into some other settings, you're also pulling in things like just being aware of your surroundings,
right?
Being diligent in terms of your personal safety. I think it varies a little bit from setting to setting, but absolutely all of things come into play.
Right. All those things, including ethics, they really do warrant some role playing, because those are things that really require critical thinking, both in general, but then also situation by situation.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that you care about that and that you know that. Yeah.
Yes. And one thing that we're seeing in the way of role play is we hear about that type of role play happening in every school. Something else that I'm starting to see happen more often are role plays about compensation conversations.
Yes.
Advocacy, it really comes into play. You have to be your own advocate. You have to sort of take responsibility for understanding your earnings, and for setting expectations about where you want to go. So it's another way in which that self-confidence is being built and nurtured.
Good. Yeah, that brings a high level of professionalism to our industry. That's great.
And I would add that in my experience that sometimes that self-advocacy also can be managed in the sense of how many appointments is it reasonable to do in a shift. And so in different settings, whether it's 4 appointments, 3 appointments, break 3, that there's a dialogue, along with the I can do 8. Let's look long term and see if that's going to make sense. And so I love the empowerment, of the therapist to have their voice. And I also love that managers and franchisees are learning that there are boundaries on how much a therapist can do, whether they say they can or they say they can't. That's something that, because Massage Envy deals with such an aggregate of so many sessions and so many franchisees and so many therapists, it's lovely to be able to gather some of that data,
Yeah, absolutely. I think tying it back into the self-care commitment is really important. It absolutely is about advocacy for where your personal boundaries are when it comes to the workload. And part of that education, to your point, has been making sure that franchisees and franchise location managers are creating the type of culture of self-care where their voices can be heard and they can speak up and advocate for themselves and feel good about that and feel supported.
Jessica, what are you finding with your massage therapists that work for you as far as the workload that they can handle? Is it very much based on the individual, or do you find that there's a general number of sessions that those therapists can do?
It's because we being Massage Envy franchising don't directly employ any massage therapists. It's all sort of at the individual location level, so I don't have direct stats. But I think from a trend standpoint, just spending time with massage therapists out in the field on the gamut, I think that's one thing that therapists often appreciate about the setting. If your goal is to do it part-time and then to experience another setting part-time, can absolutely be supported in that endeavor. If you want to be a full-time massage therapist and a full-time massage therapist only, that's absolutely doable in a setting like that. So we do sort of see both ends of the spectrum.
Right. And many things factor into that, including good body mechanics, which is part of the self-care,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can't leave that out of the curriculum, body mechanics at all. So I'm going to kind of go in a little bit of a different direction here. Again, because Massage Envy deals with such a volume of clients already. In your opinion, if massage was covered by insurance, is that something that you think would help or hurt our profession?
That is a great question, and certainly the topic of a lot of conversations of late. And I think this would be such a big change for the profession that it's difficult, at least for me, to even think about it in terms of absolutes, good or bad, better, worse. I feel certain, though, that it would change the profession. I think most of us are excited about the prospect of a mechanism that would make massage available to more people who critically need it as part of an integrated approach to pain management. And I think we're all excited to embrace anything that continues to legitimize and position massage therapy effectively as an acceptable treatment for pain and just part of your overall well-being. But I think recognize how complex a shift like this is, and that it would impact different aspects of the profession in a variety of ways.
Very true. Yeah, and now with the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education being so focused on education and improving educational standards, what role do you feel that Massage Envy and the Alliance could work together with as far as educational standards, the profession? Where is there some partnership, if you will? I hesitate to even use that word, but where we have common goals.
I think it's so important for all stakeholders in this profession to be able to come together and to work collaboratively and cooperatively to move the profession forward. And as an organization that brings so many of these stakeholders together, educators, school owners and administrators, continuing education providers, and employers, AMTE creates a forum for all of us to work together to advance and advocate for the profession. And I think that that's tremendously valuable.
Yeah, and now a quick well follow-up question. Yeah, very well said.
Yeah,
and
you board.
We have a spot for you.
I'm not in a position to ask anyone, but very well said.
In looking at educational standards, it's been my experience that Massage Envy has some internal Massage Envy University. Is that correct? Is it still called that?
Yeah, so that's our ongoing training platform. That's really where we are serving up internal content, training content to massage therapists, but all service providers in franchise locations.
And tell me a little bit about, if you know, I'm not sure you know, but how do you set the standards for that internal education?
So I won't get into the mechanics of it because it isn't my area of expertise, but I'm happy to share that we have a full learning and development team that's actually dedicated to making sure that we are scoping, creating, and delivering high quality, effective training content. And we also have subject matter experts, service providers on staff to make sure that that perspective is channeled and that the content that's being served up is right and appropriate and speaking meaningfully to that audience.
Excellent. And I know in the past, at least, I've had just a little bit of exposure, maybe 2 to 3 hours of exposure to Massage Envy University, and some of our own Alliance members, some textbook writers, have provided courses for the massage therapists that work with Envy. And so I found it to be high quality, at least what I've seen, and I like the standards that I'm seeing. I didn't know if you had other people that were coming on board to offer more in the future. But it sounds like you got a learning and development team.
Yes, but to your point, we absolutely work with external partners to source content. I mean, we recognize that there are fantastic authorities out there, well respected and incredibly knowledgeable in the field. So we do work with other folks to make sure that we are sourcing that content and taking advantage of those opportunities and providing those folks with an additional platform to extend that educational reach.
Super duper.
Jessica, is all of your training that you offer, is it all of it online, or do you also offer some courses that are live courses?
So continuing education, those are principally offered online. However, with our service provider certification program, there is an in-person component to that as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, something I like to ask towards the end of our interview time, and I won't put you on the spot, Jess, if you don't have one prepared, but as we move forward, we do like to wrap up with a favorite joke if you've got one.
That's true.
But so you can let me know. But the massage therapists and massage therapy educators are going to be listening to this interview. And in your opinion, what could massage therapy educators do to best prepare for the future demands in our industry, in our profession?
So I think it really goes back to that self-advocacy and really keeping a pulse on the ways in which the profession is changing, right? So we rely on ongoing conversations about insurance. We talked about that a little bit, and I think making sure that we are all aware of where that conversation is moving. And then just making sure that as more and more professional opportunities are opened up to massage therapists, they're getting exposure to those things. They're understanding the advantages and disadvantages of each of those. They get a nice clear-eyed perspective so that they can make informed decisions about, the path that they want to pursue and have access to develop all of the right skills to make them successful in that chosen path.
Awesome. Any follow-up questions, Rebecca?
So as far as a lot of our graduates, one barrier that they have to working with Massage Envy is the lower wage that they're paid. How often are you guys asked about that, and what types of steps are you guys taking in that area?
No, it's a great question. Obviously, compensation will vary from franchise location to franchise location, and it's something that's set by each individual franchisee as an independent employer. But from some of the more recent focus groups that we've had with therapists from a variety of different professional settings, that we've heard loud and clear is that they want more transparency in how compensation is being discussed. They want to understand what they can count on. They want to understand what's flexible. So I think one thing that we are definitely looking at doing, and it's something that you'll see in a lot of the job postings out there for Massage Envy franchise locations, you're seeing increasing pay transparency. And frankly, that's not something that's unique to Massage Envy franchisees. It's not something unique to this professional setting. Pay transparency is increasingly a competitive advantage in the job market in general.
Yes, yes. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I do like the idea of transparency, because in the clinics that I've worked with where culture was a challenge, that was definitely one of the sticking points where, maybe someone was getting paid more than another with the same experience. And so just being transparent about that path of mastery. We talked about self-care and how that keeps people in the profession for a lifetime. As well as, just thinking about the continuing ed, allowing those therapists to take care of themselves and continue on the path of mastery with this as a lifelong profession. Now, we alluded earlier to something that's going to be announced. Well, it was announced at the Teachers Summit, and it was mentioned at the AMTA National Convention. But there's something very special Massage Envy decided to do recently, isn't there?
That's right. That's right. For those of you who knew our beloved Rick Bowden, you'll completely understand why this was something that we all wanted to do in his name. So we were thrilled to announce the Rick Bowden Healer at Heart Scholarship. This is a $10,000 scholarship. So essentially a full ride, if you will, to massage therapy school of your choice. We are accepting applications now through May 31st, and you can apply on the AMTA website.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for offering that to people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting us share that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, we're just really, really pleased. It's lovely to think that on an annual basis that there'll be a new massage therapist in school with the help of Massage Envy and AMTA. So that's a really cool thing. And so the big question, is there a favorite joke, Jess?
So I have to preface this.
Okay.
3 small children at home, so my sense of humor is going to reflect that, and I'm humor generously. So here goes. What did the stamp say to the envelope?
What?
Stick with me and we'll go places.
Nice. I love it.
Very good. Very good. That's being repeated all over the United States right now. That's going
Can you
viral.
put on like Baby Shark?
Hashtag
All over the world.
says, yeah.
That'll be my lasting contribution, my joke.
I love it. I love it.
Well, I wanted to wrap up our session, our feature interview session this afternoon by reminding our listeners that they can still register as an early bird for the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education's Educational Congress being held July 25th through 27th, 2019 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That can be done by clicking the link that's right here in our comments box, and you will reserve your spots to be amongst the movers and the shakers of our massage therapy profession. I learned so much, not just from the presenters, but from the conversations that we have outside the classroom, and make new friendships as well.
Yeah.
And I want to thank my co-host, Ms. Rebecca Fairway, and also thank you to Jessica Pumo, Senior Director at Massage Envy. Thank you for being with us, Jessica.
Thank you, ladies.
And we are signing off from the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Jessica. Appreciate you. Bye,
Bye.
Charlie.